Another edition of Love in Action, Deconstruction, Junction. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. Love in Action Network is a mutual support organization that encourages, equips, and empowers the bold dreams of believers of love all over the planet to live their best lives. And if you're out there and you're looking for someone to believe in you and to help you recognize and realize your goals, you may be in the right place and adjacent to the right network. Of course, we're joined every Thursday in our live taping by the fabulous Tara Paolo. Tell them who you are and what you're doing in the world.
Hello, folks. As you know, I am a mom. You may hear some screaming. We're having a late nap day, so just know that might happen today. I am Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black biracial multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. I am excited to do today. We have some happy news, which I saw somebody on TikTok being like, it's been nice to take a break from doom scrolling and instead joy scroll. And I was like, yeah, we could joy scroll more often. And in fact, even when the doom and gloom is going on, we could joy scroll. Why? Because joy is the revolution. Okay. We would also love to hear what is going on in your life. Piper, why are you doing that? We would love to know what is going on in your life, what you're deconstructing, what you are lifting, what you're seeing online and IRL, how you are changing things. We would love to hear from you at the Your Name Here slot. You can come do one deconstruction junction with us. You can come do a daily boost. You can come just share your story on a portion of the live stream. And you can find out more information and also contact us about that at lovedandlovable.bio.link. Dr. Flo.
When you say joy is the revolution, what are you meaning to the people?
I'm meaning that just because, oh my God, hold on. Sorry, y'all. My dogs decided the most opportune moment to do something. And my child is also drooling. This is weird. Anywho, what I mean is that in spite of, and in fact, because of all of the lower vibrations, right? So anger, grief, depression, hate, these things are all going on in the world. And we can also have joy. I think that if we stay on a vibration of joy, gratitude, love, or we do our best to bring ourselves to those vibrations, the world will change. And in fact, I think that joy is the thing that is targeted the most often by those who have power, right? So if you think about situations where like this Mamdani, which is one of the first things that we're going to talk about today, like Mamdani being elected, one of the very first things that happened was like a whole lot of Islamophobia. Literally, like the same night in the campaign, they knew he was going to win. There's a whole bunch of backlash about socialism, and it's like, you're not allowed to have joy, right? Because the people are happy. The people are wanting to move, and because of joy. And I think they know that being in joy is dangerous for them, right? I think they know that that is something they can target, because if they take away our circus, if they take away our joy, then they can better control us through fear and hate and all of these lower vibrations. And so I think it's directly communal and collective, and also something that we can retain and replenish for ourselves.
Yeah, joyful people will love themselves, and people who love themselves will act like it and demand human rights and dignity and respect and food. Yeah. All right, this is your slide. So talk to us about.
Yes. Okay. I brought a couple I brought a couple threads. I'll read these first and then I'll kind of tell you what else happened. So, many of you know that this is an off year, but there were still important elections around the country. So I'll read these threads, then I'll review. So the first thread says, it's from Janessa Lasota. I got there. Rich white liberals in Minneapolis are insufferable. We're moving to ranked choice voting today. I'm not sure how it'll shake out, but the amount of folks still showing out for Jacob Fry is disappointing. The city's racism is on full display. And then the next thread is from Strange Wilderness 1. Mamdani is a socialist, not a communist. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. You don't have the GOP freaking out over Bernie. It's about racism. Oh, and by the way, the police department, fire department, public schools, and even the military are socialist. They are paid for by all to help us all. That's what socialism is. So you can kind of glean certain things that came from this, which is, like I already said, Mamdani did win the election for New York mayor and won it by a landslide. A huge landslide, like a lot of votes. I think it's over millions of votes came in. So it was a lot of votes. In Virginia, they elected a moderate white pro-trans woman named Abigail Spanberger, who won the Virginia governorship. California voted for proposition, I believe it was number 50, which is to essentially redistrict portions of California to get more blue seats into Congress. And that was approved. So there are probably going to be up to 5 seats in Congress that will now be definitively blue because of this redistricting. Not Minneapolis, St. Paul elected its first Asian Hmong woman ever. Her last name is Her. I just cannot remember her first name every time I start to talk about her. It starts with a K, but I can't remember what it is. And unfortunately, Minneapolis was the outlier and re-elected Jacob Fry for the 3rd term. But they did experiment with ranked choice voting. And what had happened there was a very popular within the trans communities, within the Black and brown communities, candidate named Omar Fateh. He was actually given the endorsement of the DFL, which is the Democratic Party here, and then they pulled it away. And so basically what happened was just like a bunch of white liberals in the richer places of Minneapolis voted for Fry, and because they were scared of a brown person running the city. So yeah, that is the election results there's one more. Nisi was talking about someone in the Northland. I believe that there was a Black woman that was elected somewhere over there on the East Coast. But anyway, so that is what is happening in politics. And basically I brought these 2 threads just to, be aware that while in New York, white liberals did the thing and they voted the Democratic brown socialist. First of all, he's not that socialist. He's Democrat. But anyway, he's like slightly left of center, which is radical in our current political system, which is predominantly right, central to right, even most Democrats. So this is a situation where we have racism just on full display, and they will turn their back like they did with Jacob Frey. So Fry. I don't actually know how to say his name because he's an embarrassment. But anyway, yeah.
A little bit about Mamdani. Quick facts. Born October 18th, 1991. He's famous for being New York City's first Muslim and South Asian mayor. He describes himself as a democratic socialist, which has no clear definition, but essentially means giving a voice to workers and not corporations. Did you know that he was a rapper in the 2010s?
I did.
Born in Uganda, Mamdani moved to New York with his family at the age of 7. He attended the Bronx High School of Science and later earned a degree in Africana Studies from Bowdoin College, where he co-founded the campus chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine. He only became a naturalized citizen in 2018. As it relates to his family, he's of Indian descent. His mother, Mira Nair, is a celebrated film director, and his father, Professor Mahmoud Mamdani, teaches at Columbia University of New York, and both of his parents are Harvard alumna. Mamdani and his wife, Brooklyn-based Syrian artist Rama Douaji, met on the dating app Hinge. And before politics, he worked as a housing counselor, helping low-income homeowners in Queens fight eviction. He's also a rapper, they really want us to know this, and performed under the name Young Cardamom, or Mr. Cardamom. He has Muslim faith as a visible part of his politics. He visits mosques regularly and released a campaign video in Urdu about the city's cost of living crises. He said, "We know that to stand up in public as a Muslim is also to sacrifice the safety that we can sometimes find in the shadows," he said recently at a rally. And his campaign, part of the Democratic Party, his campaign for mayor was centered on affordability and housing. A relatively unknown figure until a few months ago, he used social media to attract large numbers of supporters and voters. And in his policies, he has proposed a free bus service citywide, rent freezes with stricter accountability for negligent landlords, and the tripling of production of rent-stabilized and union-built housing, a chain of city-owned grocery stores that focus on affordability, love that, universal child care for children aged 6 weeks to 5 years, and a flat 2% tax for New Yorkers who make more than $1 million a year. And his critics have questioned whether or not he can afford his promises. And to that, this is part of the BBC. Like, can we afford the promises? Yes, we can. It doesn't matter if we want to think that we can afford the promises. And as far as Gaza goes, Mamdani's strong support of Palestinians and staunch criticism of Israel goes further than most of the Democratic establishment. He introduced a bill to end the tax-exempt status of New York charities with ties to Israeli settlements that violate international human rights law. And he also said he believes Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, and Israel vehemently rejects accusations of genocide. But what else have they been doing but denying that they're harming innocent people for the last few years and beyond? Congratulations, Mamdani. I can't wait to see what happens with your tenure as mayor. I wish I still lived there to celebrate with everybody. I want to talk today a bit about peer support and the power of peer support. If you do not yet believe in the virtues of peer support, I want to introduce it to you if you've never had it done before. I'm looking up the technical definition so that I can read it to you all. Peer support is a process where individuals with similar experiences provide each other with knowledge, emotional, and practical help in a relationship built on mutual respect and shared understanding. The support is based on the principle that someone who has gone through a similar challenge can offer unique empathy and encouragement. It can be formal, such as through a trained peer support worker, or informal, like in self-help groups. We've been doing peer support for the last few months in Love and Action Network strategically, and it has been an absolute gift. And I would encourage everyone to start your own local chapter of peer support, or to pick a time in the week when you can get on the phone with your loved ones and people who you profess love towards, and just start talking about what your roses are in your life, the things that are going great and the things that you're grateful for that you'd like to see more of, the thorns in your life, things that you don't like, but they're just part of life and you can't make them go away. So venting with people and talking about them often makes it feel a bit better. Your needs. A lot of people, spend years not being heard in what they need. And it's good to have people listen to our needs and to pay attention to what we've got going on day by day, because sometimes in life you can feel very, very alone in what you are experiencing. And no one is alone, and no one's experiencing anything new. We've been going through very, very similar encounters for the last 2,000 years. The only thing that's changed is the technology and our ability to make constant contact with one another, which can be very, very overwhelming. So maybe you have a need for unplugging or support in how to get through what you are experiencing day to day, but without having a space or container in your relationships where you can say, I need fill in the blank. And we've got some needs wheels posted over on our website. Without being able to properly express your needs to people who care about you, it could be very isolating in your emotional center. And then there's the seeds. Like, what are you wanting to put into the world that you'd like to see grow? What business opportunities, what dreams, what gifts would you like to see spread from out of you as your legacy item or group of items coming from you in your life? And we talk about those in peer support at 11 a.m. Eastern every day, and also 7 p.m. Eastern every night. You all are welcomed. You are all welcomed. You all are all welcomed to RSVP through the website and to let us know how we can be supportive of you as you go through what you're going through. And if you are rejoicing about something, we would love to rejoice with you. If you are suffering through something, we'd like to know about it so we can perhaps find resources and tools to help you, or just to say, yo, I hear you, I understand, and I will support you as you walk through your personal fire. I think there's something really, really remarkable about peer support. And what say you, Tara, about peer support, and what has it done for you, and what opportunities has it provided for you to be of service on the planet?
Oh, I thought that question was going to continue. You caught me. Listen, y'all, I usually experience coaching in groups. And I think that most of online coaching really is just group peer support. Like, I think every mastermind on the internet is just group peer support, and like they don't want to call it that because they're too like prideful or something. So anyway, I do like peer support, and I have enjoyed watching people grow. Particularly if they're growing, like it's always really cool to see people grow almost instantaneously, right? Like we see them one day and then the next day they come back and it's like, whoa, that's a totally different person, because they took some bit of advice from the room or from just like being in the presence of people who, like I said earlier, when Flo asked about joy as the revolution, like they're around people that are trying to exist on the frequency of gratitude wherever they are in their lives. Like not everything is perfect all the time. And it's good to acknowledge that in a group, and it's not necessarily commiseration. It is just, there is some commiseration, but it's also just a way to like see how other people are handling it. And we're all different, right? Like there's no prescription of what's going to help you. You're going to be attracted to various different people in the room, and certain people are going to land on you in different ways every day. And sometimes it'll help you grow in 30 days or in 5 days or in 2 days or in 1 day. Like it is very much about the growth of the collective and engaging in collective imagination of what could be possible. Yeah.
10 out of 10 would recommend, if you are out there and looking for resources to help you build your own peer support program, if you want to stop by and see how it's done and how helpful it can be for the hearts of everyone involved, tap in. We would love to show you the ropes and also encourage you to build one of your own. We've had several people come through our organization who are now doing their own peer support programs, and I think that we should have one in every zip code If people were talking about their feelings and pooling resources and helping each other with flyers and food and beyond, we could have a better society at large. It's on you for SNAP benefits. What's up?
It is. There are a couple threads, or one thread next, that I will read. Ah, yes, We the Urban. This is, I brought this particular thread because I think part of, and I'm posting to Snapchat is what I was doing, y'all. That's why you saw my phone. I think that we talked about this in peer support the other day. I think that there's a lot of propaganda around poverty, and there's a lot of propaganda around food, and there's a lot of propaganda around justice, and there's a lot of propaganda around peace and around joy. There's just a lot of propaganda. And so I brought this particular thread because we could go down into the, like we did last week, the numbers of people that are going to be food insecure, the number of people that are not going to get their SNAP benefits, the number of children that are affected, etc. But I think it's equally as important to fight the propaganda, or at least push back on some of the propaganda that is coming up in that people are undeserving of the help. So We the Urban says, poverty is not a character flaw. Food insecurity is not a character flaw. Depriving your own people of food is. I'm going to read it one more time. Poverty is not a character flaw. Food insecurity is not a character flaw. Depriving your own people of food is. I just really want to center that, like, none of this is people's fault. Like, people being poor, people being on SNAP benefits, it's not anyone's fault. This is an almost impossible world to live in. It's not a personal failure of yours that it's hard, like food is expensive and jobs aren't paying enough. Like, that's not your fault. That is a failing of the system. Or if you believe, like I believe, it's the system working exactly as it was designed to work. And therefore we need it to break, right? And we need to break it in order to proceed with a world that everyone is fed for free, as Poppy Wada keeps bringing to the table, right? That everyone has enough, that everybody has UBI, that everybody has reparations, that everybody has the ability to live a happy, healthy, and free life, which is not possible underneath of a system that continues to appear to fracture, but that is how it is designed, right? So I just wanted to lift a little bit of the pushback on the propaganda that is surrounding this, and just, again, lead us back to this. Everyone deserves to eat, regardless of who they are, regardless of what they've done. Everyone deserves to eat. Everyone.
And the money to provide for the labor to grow the food and the money to purchase the food is all a number made up in the system somewhere. What I'm resentful about right now as a person who is having my SNAP benefits withheld because I'm a community advocate and I make under the number that is required to, be beyond eligibility for SNAP benefits, is that there are charts going around now saying that they are going to extend partial benefits to people and that people will be getting half. Well, once again, it's all made up. Like, all the money.
Like, even if the money, like, even the money being made up, there is enough food. The thing is that, like,
what they're going to say is that the processing of the food, meaning that, like, the beans have to be put in the can by someone. I'm not personally going out into the field and harvesting the beans and shelling them and washing them and boiling them and seasoning them and putting them into the can. I wouldn't even know how to can a vegetable if I tried. And I certainly wouldn't be able to do it at scale of what people need to eat. So there's money that needs to go into labor to pay people to do that job. That's made up too.
Right. And those people are often also on SNAP benefits because they are not paid enough. Factory workers are often not paid enough.
So they could release the wealth. And we talk a lot on this podcast about taxing the wealthy. I don't mind for them to keep their money as long as you all make up more money somewhere else. It's a really weird. Sometimes my brain literally shatters into a million little pieces when I start thinking about the fact that like no one has touched the amount of money that they say is necessary to feed people and to provide for labor cost to have the food produced and distributed. No one has touched that money. It's not sitting underground somewhere. It's not in a bunker somewhere. It's not.
Made me think about the cheese. Y'all know about the cheese? You know about the cheese, the underground cheese locker things where like they subsidize so much fucking cheese. This shit is crazy.
Well, that and the maple syrup in Canada, it's all like in bunkers under the ground in barrels because there might be a maple syrup. Like humans are weird. That's the beginning, middle, and end of this particular share on my part. I think it's very, very strange that you all will call other humans lazy who are working and contributing to society. I think it's strange that we've created this situation of people having money and people not having money when it's all made up. Just call it what it is. People like feeling better than other people based on this arbitrary number in their bank accounts. Just say that your self-esteem as an American and as a global citizen is based upon how much money you have, and that you want your cousins and your family and your friends to feel less worthy of dignity in this life because they don't have it. And that if this made up metric of money were to be dispersed into people to cause happiness for everyone, you'd have to figure out a different way to feel better and superior than your neighbor. Because what we're talking about is the aesthetic of things. Do you buy name brand versus off-brand things? Do you have a better car than your neighbor? Can you drive down the street and be able to see who is in a better socioeconomic position than you based on what you can see? And a lot of you are not really wanting to be real about the fact that you get off on people not being able to eat right now because you feel like you work harder than they do. So let me eat and they deserve to suffer. Even though the tool that's being used to make them suffer is something that's made up. I also resent the fact that there are people in government right now who are making full salaries while withholding the food from other people. They're eating well.
They have a meal stipend, in fact.
I'm sorry?
They have a meal stipend.
Yeah, they're getting paid to do nothing. And there are people who I see all over Reddit who are really nervous about how their kids are going to eat tonight. And a great many of you think that's okay instead of breaking the wheel. If they wanted to, and if we wanted to, they could push a button like we do on Grow a Garden in the Roblox game and just make more of it. They could disperse tonight $500 billion into the system. No, they can't. Why can't they? Because there's a few people in power, and then the people over us in power ran by those people who are saying it's not possible. Right. And it's crazy that people are suffering and starving and not getting proper health care because of ideology.
Right. And I mean, I think too that like the belief, like because this particular state of being has been around so long, the installation of the beliefs of the lower classes in the system, right? In trickle-down economics, in this idea that someday the rich people are going to release it, that the system is working and that we just need to hate another, right? Like that is so instilled in society that belief too upholds then those that are in power. And I think that's why I lean towards the breaking of the entire system, because that belief is central, right? It's the whole reason that that slavery was even started, was to give people an other to hurt, right? So that they didn't notice how poor they were or how without power they were, right? Make them hate someone else, give them an other, give them a scapegoat. That's how the Holocaust happened, y'all. The Jewish people were the scapegoat of the German government. That's what happened there, right? And it has happened over and over. That's why genocides continue to happen. It happened before the Holocaust. And so I don't think that the lower classes are entirely without, we don't often see people questioning their beliefs. I mean, we're the only two that have been sitting here for talking about this for a long time, right? Like, we don't often see other podcasts deconstructing this kind of stuff. We don't often see, like, there surely are people, right? But it is not a massive amount of people questioning why, instead of looking upward into these people that are doing these crazy things, like saying either you're going to pay $1,000 more in healthcare or you're going to starve. Let's see which one they choose. Like, that's crazy, y'all. Instead of looking at that, people are too busy bickering back and forth about how people don't deserve SNAP benefits because they bought a pop. Right? Like, that shit is crazy.
It's mental illness. It really is mental illness. Like, you all have really told on yourselves in these times. Oh, to be alive in 2025, where the mental illness is like so rampant that you believe in the money in the first place, right? Even when most of us are carrying around debit cards and little pieces of plastic.
Can I tell you, I found $5 in my purse last night, like an actual $5 bill, and I was like,
yeah, I've got $4 scraggly in my laptop backpack, and I was like, what is that going to do? Yeah,
it'll buy you a pack of gum.
I don't even chew gum, but yeah, but it could. Yes, it could, and it also could get me a nice large pop over there at Circle K. Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not saying it's not worth anything. I'm just saying that, like, they could give us all more. And even as I say they could give us all more, I can hear you selfish motherfuckers watching saying, well, what did you do to deserve it? Well, humans have dignity, whether you think they deserve to have dignity or not. Every one of us is worthy of a happy, healthy, and free life, and being able to have food, clothing, and shelter. And the fact that the system is set up in a way to where people aren't even making, all of this goes also back to what we've been talking about for years. I think we're in like the 104th or 105th week of doing this work online in front of everybody as an intentional example of how to speak up and out about what's going on. The people who work the hardest in the society are not making money. They don't have a living wage, right. and they're not in a position to even, for years I was like, why do people not, because we've seen the numbers kind of do amazing things today with people coming in and checking out the podcast. A great deal of people who would want to hear this particular vibe of what we're putting down, they can't even listen to this message because they're overworked and underpaid, too tired to listen to it after they get off from work, or working with tyrant bosses that are chasing them around with their phones on the clock saying you can't do that, even though we're paying you the least. I've told y'all for years, I was mistreated the most at the jobs where I was paid the least. And you would think that they'd be nice to those people because they don't make as much. But the truth is, the more you make and the higher you go up the corporate ladder, the better you're treated. And it's awful to be not only mistreated while not making a living wage, but also not being able to put food on your table because your bills are metastasizing because of debt. And don't even get me started on credit history and credit scores.
Credit scores are such bullshit. That's why I'm not worried about mine anymore. We don't have to fight each other. Like, we literally don't have to fight our neighbors. We could like make that choice right now to not fight the people that are around us and instead just take care of each other and imagine a different world and then change the world. Over on Instagram, someone is commenting, Mariah Trigg, and I'm sorry that I did not see your comments sooner. The Instagram comments don't come up on the live. So for anybody out there watching on Instagram or a platform that you don't see your comments popping up on the screen, please feel free to go over to either at Ask Dr. Flo's Twitch, or are you still Andre in the Flow over there on Twitch? I think you're Andre in the Flow on Twitch. And then Ask Dr. Flo on YouTube, or you can go to my YouTube, which is Terra Priola Studio, and we are live there, and we can pull up the
I'm Ask Dr. Flo everywhere now.
Okay. Ask Dr. Flo or Terra Priola Studio on YouTube. So Mariah had said, what is this about? What belief? And then whoa. And then is this airing on YouTube? I think we explained the belief. This is Deconstruction Junction. It's a podcast that we tape every week around 1 p.m. Eastern, and it goes on the Love in Action Substack, which you can get to at lovedandlovable.bio.link. We've been discussing the SNAP benefits crisis for at least 3 weeks now, if not longer. And the last thing that I'll say about this particular thing is that we are now in the longest shutdown in history. The 37th day of the shutdown as we continue. And as Flo mentioned, there has been some confusion on whether it's going to get partially funded or not funded at all, because various different things have been said in different spaces. So yeah, and they could just give the food. Also, there's a ton sitting on the shelves that is gonna go bad, anyway.
What was the other? There were a lot of questions there. What are the questions again?
One was, what is this about? Which is what I think Deconstruction Junction, here we are. And then another one was, what belief? And I'm sure we were talking about, And then
there was a third question.
Is this airing on YouTube?
Yes, it is airing on YouTube. It's airing on multiple YouTubes.
Right, which I covered, yep.
The belief, once again, is that the money and the money problems that exist to keep people from eating are real. That's a problem. We're talking about ideologies. We're talking about the idea that these billions and trillions of dollars in national debt and the money not being available for human services, the fact that we have agreed as a society that people can't go into a computer and add zeros and make all of these problems go away is mental illness. It's collective mental illness. I remind you, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll remind you again that I don't carry around all of the money that I have in my pocket. It's on a little plastic card. Same thing with these EBT cards, of which I have one. They're little pieces of plastic that we assign meaning and value and worth to. And we're allowing people who are very disconnected from the everyday American experience to dictate how much worth can go on these pieces of plastic and destabilize the lives of millions. What we're talking about is collective mental illness. And the fact that we go along with it as sheeple, and that many don't speak up and out against it, and that we carry on for decades pretending like this is normal, is absolute bullshit.
We have another comment from Mariah. Democrats are prioritizing illegals and playing with the American people's lives.
Stop talking. Stop talking. I don't want to hear from Mariah anymore. You can go, because you lost me at calling a human being and illegal. The fact that you think that another human being on the planet can be illegal means that you are mentally ill, and you believe that there are certain people who are worthy of taking up space and having food, clothing, and shelter on the planet, and there are folks who are disqualified. So don't speak another word of that deranged bitch again. Can we move forward?
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with her and people like her. Courage and confidence. You got to have it to speak up for what's right in the world. You got to have it to speak up for what's good. You got to speak up in order to dismantle the stinking thinking that you have and the stinking thinking of the people around you. And there's so many people who y'all are going to meet very, very soon again at your Thanksgiving tables that are very selective in their speech about who they want to love and how they want to love and who they want to accept and who they don't want to accept. And this all comes from a conversation that I had on TikTok this morning with Tara about how before people can actually actualize their dreams and to see a positive future for themselves, we have to start coaching and uplifting their ability to have access to inner courage and confidence. And so if you're out there and you are a person who feels discouraged, know that there's a propaganda of unworthiness in society that wants you to feel that way. And I would encourage you to question the reason why you are discouraged, who is discouraging you, why you feel unworthy of belonging and having nice things such as food and access to resources to have your dreams be made manifest. And then what tools you're going to reach for to experience more courage, confidence, and clarity in your life. We've been talking about this for hours. Tara, do you have anything to add to the ways in which people can step up to the plate of their own lives and manifest more courage and confidence while I confidently go and pee?
You caught me off guard again. So I think that, in Love and Action Network, we do like our alliterations. So confidence, courage, and clarity. But I do think that it takes a lot to step up. It takes a lot to even make a sound, like if we're talking about singing or if we're talking about public speaking or these things that we do in school or raising your hand in school, like we don't cultivate publicly the courage and confidence aspect of that, right? It's the expectation that if you know the answer, you raise your hand. But there isn't often a discussion in elementary school or younger that cultivates the courage to raise your hand, right? Or cultivates the ability to think out of the box, right? We're actually having a really interesting discussion on one of my threads right now about, do you have to know the rules in order to break them? And I think there's a courage and a confidence needed to do both. I think there's a courage and a confidence needed to just do your own thing and not worry about the rules. And I think that there is a courage and a confidence needed to work towards breaking the rules once you know them, right? Which I think as adults, a lot of us are working out of, right? A lot of us are working out of following the rules or following the prescribed rules that were told to us as being the way to be, right? And I think confidence, I think confidence is a skill. And I think that you get it by strengthening your courage and continuing to try things and continuing to journal and do all of the things that we do in Love and Action Network. And that can make you a little more bold in your action. So, yeah.
One day in your life, you will wake up to realizing that The people who told us what the proper and right way to do things were had their reasons. There's a reason why they wanted you to conform. There's a reason why they didn't want people like me to be able to read and write. There's a reason why they don't want us liberated. There's a reason why they ask us if we're on YouTube as well when we're broadcasting on no less than 8 platforms at the same time, because no matter where you try to report us or shut us down, we still will stay liberated. And even if they shut down all of the streams that we're on, we're recording this so we can broadcast it on independent channels with full transparency and transcripts. People who are really into liberation and freedom are really into liberation and freedom. We're not just people out here trying to talk about freedom because we think it's a talking point or something to be cute about on a Thursday afternoon. We really are into liberation.
And we are cute too. But
I mean, yeah, I walked in the door as a sexy motherfucker. I walked in this motherfucker sexy. So, that was a given. And I only hang around people who are beautiful in their appearance and beautiful in their spirit. You see how I shut down ugly motherfuckers? I don't have no problem with that. But yeah, some of us have come here to really get free. And to get free once and for all. We recognize that there are people on the planet who will try to keep us subjugated and oppressed to the end. And we're not playing that game anymore. And to the earlier point, Mamdani, that's not his name, Mamdani, and the woman who became mayor of Detroit for the first time, and the first woman governor of Virginia, which is the state that I'm from. All of these, I want to say appointments, but all of these shifts in people being appointed into leadership by the electorate is a symbol that no matter how resistant you all are to change, it is inevitable.
A change is going to come.
It's going to come. It's going to come. And I haven't talked about this, and I didn't put a slide in, but here we are in Courage and Confidence. This also goes for you anti-AI motherfuckers. Let me be the first to tell you that those of us who are using AI, we don't care about how you feel because it's happening with or without you. There are people who are afraid of electricity. Guess what? Here we sit under the benefits of electricity. I'm sure there were people who were afraid of indoor plumbing, and yet we love on our faucets.
We may know one.
Right. The guy who wants to have plumbing in the outhouse.
There were definitely people that were afraid of the electric piano. And look, I still have an analog one.
Child.
It's like both could exist in the same space. Whoa.
In every iteration of our society, there have been rapid innovation and change. And I'm leery of saying rapid innovation and change because really when you think about like the introduction of the internet, it's happening like very slowly. AI.
You put me on the forefront of it. I would say that when I met you, I was definitely a person that was like, I don't know. I adopted Clubhouse quick. You know what I mean? I don't know. Carry on. Keep going.
I think that God has changed. I think that love has an expectation of us to change. I think that the world is going to evolve and expand, and the universe is in constant expansion, whether you like it or not. The furthest star in the universe from us, since the time we've been talking on this podcast, which is now 50 minutes and 3 seconds, it's now further away. There are stars in the universe that the telescopes can see on Earth that are no longer visible because they are expanding and further in their distance from the planet. For you to think that you're going to stop the technology of AI and the use of AI by a me, as y'all sit around allowing Netflix to suggest the next movie you should watch, is a joke. Sit down and tell me differently how you are a dinosaur. I don't have time. With all of the AI that's baked into our services and products now, with us calling the cable company or calling the cell phone, calling, that's me being a dinosaur. With us opening our apps and live chatting chatbots that usually solve our problems unless we're really needy before we get to a live agent. We've been using AI for a decade plus in many ways. And for you to try to shame me toxically because my face is now on an AI person directing a band that doesn't exist but could, is nuts. It's nuts.
Right. Well, and I mean, just to your point, like, a C that we don't need to engage in is controlling other people. Like, your distaste, don't use AI if you don't want to use AI, but you have literally no control over somebody else. And in fact, the shaming of other people makes them less likely to do the thing that you're asking or telling them not to do. Right? Like that is, we have learned time and time again that shaming people into being whatever we want them to be does not work. It doesn't work. And so, like, I mean, even just at its
really will like you less and talk to you less and consider you a person that they do not want to be around.
Right. Exactly. So,
and if you don't have courage and confidence to learn the AI, to be able to be at the command of it and to allow it to make money for you, then at least be humble about gaining the skills to learn it. Because saying that you don't trust the debit cards because you can't touch your money anymore like my dad did, or saying that you don't trust cell phones because they're not connected to the wall, is nuts.
And you're not going to overcome something. Like, if you want AI to be rid, right? If you want debit cards to be out of the world, right? You want cash only society. You're not going to do that by not learning how to use a debit card, right? In the same way that, like, we are not going to we're not going to get rid of capitalism by not understanding capitalism. That's not going to work. We're not going to get rid of AI if that's what we collectively decide to do, which I don't think is where this is going, considering that it's been there and y'all haven't complained up until now, right? But we're not going to get there by just being like, I'm not going to learn it. I refuse. And I am better because I have never touched AI in my life.
Now, what I will say is that you all should be concerned about the AI and that it is not pro-liberation and freedom in the ways that we'd like it to be. Right. When I ask it to give me a detailed plan for disrupting alleged white supremacists on the planet, and alleged white supremacy, it starts acting like it doesn't know what I'm talking about. That's actually a bigger problem than the AI itself.
Yeah, I asked it something along those lines of like something with lift every voice, and it was crazy. I was like, what?
It will brick.
What? Yeah, she said she was like,
if I start asking it how people assigned white at birth could do better for equity and including people and solving the ills of what they have done in evil For the last 400 years, it starts to go, what do you mean? It can write you a term paper, but it can't tell you how to overcome alleged white supremacy.
Right. Right.
So just know that I use it in a lot of fun ways. I was singing in front of the Eiffel Tower the other day without even going there. I think it's great. And for those of you want to be environmentalists,
well, I mean, I made a point and somebody responded to me and was like, thank you for a refreshing take, but it's one of your takes. It's like, not one of your takes, but it's a take. And you have said it before, which is like, if we're going to talk about the environmental problems with AI, right, then we also need to have a discussion about the environmental problems with literally everything else that we consume. Because the problem isn't actually the environmental cost of AI. The problem is the consumption, right? The consumption of Americans in particular. We are very consumptive culture, and it is problematic to the planet. And we have known that for 30 years. We've known it.
We've known it. And back to previous points in this episode, we could advance technologies that made the consumption less burdensome on the planet if we went into these fake ass bank accounts and added a few zeros.
Right.
The scientists would get paid, the laborers would get paid, the experiments would be funded. If we went into these Morgan Chase, Bank of America, fake ass accounts and just added zeros. If we went into the governmental bank accounts that's not backed by gold anymore and just said, you know what? I think if we added about 4 or 5 extra zeros, we'd be fine. But you know what people do when they have extra zeros? They buy their friends extra plots on Grow a Garden.
And then they give me more so that I can give it to somebody else.
Yeah. She was like, I said, how much is your extra plot on Grow a Garden? She said, $100 trillion. I said, $100 trillion? Let me look into the, ask the AI, like, if I gave away $100 trillion, how would it feel? And they said $100 trillion is negligible to the amount of money you have on this Roblox game called Grow a Garden. I was like, oh, if it's negligible and it's got that many, it's risen to like the 14th or 19th power, that many zeros, I'm not going to feel it. And I don't care anyway. So Tara, meet me in the game and I'll give you $100 trillion. So I gave her $100 trillion to buy her plot. And I said, have you bought the plot yet? And she was like, I'm scared. And I was like, why are you scared? And it's because she had $100 trillion, but then she was trying to, like, I guess I would assume you were trying to wager if spending it was going to like be the best thing, or could you like invest it?
I got really overwhelmed because I wanted the new plot, and then I was like, what am I going to put on the new plot? How am I going to organize the new plot? And I just had this whole like overwhelming moment of I have too many seeds that don't make sense together, and so maybe I don't want the new plot because I have too many seeds, and I need to buy the proper seeds so that it can be as pretty and organized as my main plot. And I had a spiral moment.
Should I spend the $100 billion? Right.
That's what happened.
Fear of success, fear of abundance. We could do a whole podcast on these things. And I was like, oh, she's having an issue because she's trying to figure out whether to buy the plot of land or to invest in more seeds that make sense for the plot of land. And she's really here. Take another $100 trillion.
And his number didn't even change, you guys. Like it's literally like still like 3.18 or something.
If you're
31.8 or something, I was like,
billion, trillion, whatever. And so if you're out there listening right now and you need money for a plot, or if you need money to buy more seeds, or if you want nice things for the holidays for your Grow a Garden garden, just send me a DM. I'll meet you on the app and be your rich uncle. I really believe that they know, and they're seeing it by the way that people are coming together and growing and buying each other groceries and serving one another. They know that if we the people, and we on this podcast, if we and those watching, if we had the extra zeros on the ends of the numbers in the bank accounts, we would serve ourselves and then serve one another fully. And that's what they're afraid of. That's why they perpetuate this propaganda of there's not enough money, there's not enough funding. Republicans and Democrats alike. I've listened to y'all for decades talk about how there's just not enough money for human services. There's not enough money to provide for this and that, when all they would have to do simply is go into the bank account that holds that money and add zeros. And no one has been able to tell me, outside of greed and selfishness and wanting to feel better than other people and to stand on the necks of other people, why that isn't possible. If you're out there listening right now, we're on 8 different platforms at the same time, and we're going to air on many more. If you're out there and you can give me a legitimate reason why they cannot go into the national bank accounts and add zeros to the end of the number and provide for everybody, I would love to hear it. But there aren't any reasons. There aren't any reasons. They're just humans who like to see other humans suffer. And I think it's sick. I think it's really sick. Anyway, this leads me to a conversation that we've been having all week in the network around fundraising and pride issues, and how the reason why a lot of people aren't sponsoring podcasts of their own or asking for donor funds to be able, I get donations that allow me to be on 8 platforms at once. And the reason why a lot of people don't have what we have, it's not because they're undereducated or poorly educated or not wanting to do good in the world. A lot of it is because of pride issues. I'm afraid of asking for what I need. And I'm afraid that when I ask for what I need, that people are going to judge me for not having what I need on my own, even though I'm limited. And I've noticed this as I'm building my coaching practice. I'm limited in the amounts of people that I can help per day. I'm limited, as we all are, in the amount of money we can make day by day. And some of us, myself included, need more money than what I'm earning in order to provide services for people and to be a blessing in the planet. And I'm publicly, eyeball to eyeball, coming out about the foolish man pride. For those of you who are listening only over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts later, that we were blinking at each other through the cameras, because I'm coming out about how foolish I've been in my man pride as it relates to asking for help and not stopping the ask until I get it. Poppy Water, my partner, reminded me earlier in the week, who doesn't have a problem asking for funds? Random countries all over the world that need it. JP Morgan Chase. Any of the
credit card companies.
The credit card.
Student loan companies. The government.
That's just a short list of people who do not have a pride issue as it relates to asking for bailouts. We saw the bailouts happen many years ago, where these mega companies, they made up this idea that without them being given more zeros at the end of their numbers, they were just going to fail and to be catastrophic for everybody. And with open hands, because even the other day when we were talking about this yesterday, perhaps, or day before yesterday, Tara was like, mutual support is not a bad thing. Like, don't be afraid of mutual support, Dr. Flo. I'm like, yo, these corporations who are asking for things and bailouts, they don't care about mutual support. They want the money.
Right. And I guess I feel
the money.
Mutual aid also is just giving without getting anything back. Like those people are asking for money and they get the money and they're not expected to return it. They're not expected to do anything. So it is just donation, but that is, in the popular sense, mutual aid.
And if the person who's giving you the money doesn't care if they get it back or what you do with it, that's freedom. That's true freedom.
Mhm.
And I'm overcoming, that's why I was doing the eyeballs. I'm overcoming my man pride and my poor people's pride around asking for help and gaining access to said help because of what the peanut gallery and people's opinions around me will think about the asking. And a lot of us are overcoming that right now. We had parents and teachers and adults in our lives. Remember, everything has a source. All of these causes and conditions come from somewhere. Somewhere in my past, hashtag my dead daddy, did not like us asking for handouts, saw asking for help as a sign of weakness and a symbol of a laziness that one possessed when you could be just doing more. And once again, for the big dreams I have and the things I'm reaching for, there's not enough time to play that game of catch up. It will be the economy of kindness and generosity from people who have it, who want to see someone who doesn't have it win. That will be enough.
There will be enough.
It will. What say you, as a major campaign donor and also campaign facilitator? Why the face?
Because I don't know, major donor got me like, I was like, am I? Anyway,
If a person has $2 and you give them 40, you're a major donor to them.
that's true.
The fact, if a person doesn't have gas money,
Yeah,
and they need $20 to get to work that week, you are a major donor. This points me before you answer, or not. There's no answer, but before you share about how you feel about these things, there's also a big vibration in the earth that, and Obama could tell you differently,
Obama,
that having a little to give is a sad thing. Meaning that there are people who don't give or don't contribute because, listen, as a person who receives donations to build this work and to fund my life and to fuel my life, you'd be surprised how many people say, I'm going to give you this, Dr. Flo, but I really wish I had more. There's like a toxic shame culture around giving. Everybody needs to be helped. And yet people are like, it's only $20. It's only $50. It's only $100. I wish I had more. I feel so bad about helping, but every little bit goes a long way.
Right. Yeah. I work for a lot of companies and we say a gift of any size is enough, right? Like literally any size. And also I would just point out, like, one of the people that I watch, in terms of fundraising, that I feel is not quite as, some fundraising I feel like is really annoying. And I'm just gonna, like, particularly political fundraising, when you get all the texts like that, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. I understand why they do it, and I'm sure it works, but like, it's annoying to me. But there's a person on the internet named Sharon Says So. And Sharon is, in fact, was a teacher in Duluth, Minnesota, and now she is the internet's beloved governor. And she has raised millions on her platforms. She has like 600,000 followers. Maybe she's at 1 million now. But anyway, small donations. Like, I'm talking like 50-cent donations from people, $6 donations, $10 donations, $20 donations. Like these small drops in the bucket that then she gives to the organizations that can amplify that. And I think on her platform, like, because of the money that she's raised, I think they've paid off like something like north of $40 million in medical debt for people who can't pay it. And like this food bank stuff, I think she's already raised like $100,000. Like, this is a person that like raises money really well. Right. And simply because she is in the economy of kindness. Like, Sharon does not attack people ever. The only person she really attacks is like Donald Trump and like people like him who are racist and problematic, in that way. So she will speak out about that. but she doesn't really she doesn't engage in some of the cattiness that you see in a lot of political pundits. So anyway, I bring her up because actually today, in that while you were talking, I don't know why I hadn't thought of her before, because I've been watching her for years, repeatedly raise funds from her same audience over and over again. And another person that is a really great fundraiser is Ismatu, somebody that we've talked about on this podcast several times. They raise nearly $11,000 every month. Right? That's a single person raising $11,000 every month. And they use a lot of that to pay for the things that they're doing in Sierra Leone and to keep themselves alive, but they also give back a ton of it, right? And so clearly there's a portion of the population that have gotten over it, right? Have gotten over this shame spiral that we tend to go in. And I know that I had talked to you in April in a coaching space of I don't know if I can raise money for myself, right? I don't know if I can raise money for this album because I always have to tell people where it's going, because they're not going to just give money to little old me, and that's that. So I think that a lot of the reason that we don't ask for the help that we need is simply because we don't feel like we're deserving of the gift, right? And that is the work around fundraising. And for me, as a person that does a lot of fundraising for other organizations, it always is easier to raise money for them, right? Whether or not I believe in their missions completely, whether I participate in them, whatever, but it's always easier to raise money for them because it seems like there's a wall between me and them, and I don't have to worry about it quite as much as I could when it's me. It does feel very vulnerable to ask for money, but that is a product of our society, right? It's very much a product of our society. And so all that to say, I think that people's nature is good, right? I think people want to help each other. And I think people understand that we have to help each other, right? And that no one is coming to save us. And so therefore it's us that keep us safe, right? It's us banding together and giving what we can and doing what we can in various ways. So yeah. I don't know.
And we got to believe that there are people who have not met us yet who want to support our causes. And if we speak up in our boldness, we talked earlier about courage and confidence. If we are courageous and confident in making our ask known to people, we're going to pass and supersede those who are having pride issues around asking. We're certainly going to get there first because people have these issues with asking. I asked the AI just now, for you AI police people, what are some of the chief reasons why people do not fundraise for themselves? And it said, excellent question, Dr. Flo. The hesitation to fundraise for oneself, even among gifted leaders, artists, and healers, is rooted in a mix of psychological, cultural, and systemic factors. Here are the chief reasons. Internalized shame and unworthiness. Many people have absorbed the belief that asking for help equals weakness. They fear being judged as incapable, needy, or failing. And this shame narrative is especially strong in Western and performance-driven cultures where self-sufficiency is glorified.
Well, there's that.
Number 2, fear of judgment and rejection. Fundraising requires vulnerability, publicly stating one's needs and dreams. People fear ridicule. Why can't you just get a job? Envy or indifference. Wow. People fear ridicule. Why can't you just get a job? Envy or indifference. The possibility of rejection can feel too personally painful, so they avoid asking altogether. Number 3 is a lack of narrative clarity. Most individuals don't know how to frame their story in a way that connects hearts to heart. So without a clear, emotionally resonant narrative, why they are raising funds, what impact it will create, they worry their requests will seem unfocused or self-serving. Bing, bing. Cultural conditioning against self-promotion. Certain communities, especially marginalized or spiritual ones, are taught humility as a survival or moral code. Don't make it about you. Stay modest, or God will provide.
Well,
can
well.
suppress the instinct to advocate for oneself even when the cause is just. I feel
I feel
clocked.
very called out by the first part of that, which was like, can you read the first part one more time? One more time. One more time.
Yeah, I'll read the whole thing again so we can have it in context. Certain communities, especially marginalized or spiritual ones, are taught humility as a survival or moral code. Don't make it about you. Stay modest.
Those two were repeatedly said to me, which explains why I have such a problem being forward in my social media.
Yeah, I was told throughout my life to stay humble. I was actually threatened. There was an idea that was perpetuated in my childhood that if you were not humble in your gifts, that God was going to take it from you. That somehow you could get so expansive and so big and love yourself and what you're doing so much that the creator and the giver of that gift would take it from you as a punishment, while also simultaneously saying the last part of this, God will provide. Those three statements, don't make it about you, stay modest or humble, or God will provide, can suppress the instinct to advocate for oneself even when the cause is just. Number 5, distrust in systems and platforms. Some avoid fundraising because they distrust digital giving systems, have seen misuse of funds online, or fear backlash from people who assume that all fundraisers are scams.
Right. I hear that. I say that even about free things. Like, there's a particular thing that I see some of my friends in the music industry. It's called Voyage, right? It's this magazine that reaches out to you every once in a while, and they're like, "We'll put your whole thing online, and we'll promote you." And then you give them your stuff, and they do put it on the website, but they have no reach. So it's just a getting got thing. And so I'm entirely skeptical of it. And then sometimes I say that, and people are like, "But why? Why are you so skeptical of it?" And I'm like, "What?" But also, people like, I mean, I deal with this in the company that I'm the operations manager for, right? Thursday Musical. Like, a lot of these elderly individuals, they're not going to go on givemn.org and give their credit card number away. They're going to bring a check to the concert next week. You know what I mean? Or they're going to bring $20 bills to the concert, just because there's a distrust of that online narrative. And then I was listening to a podcast last night as I was going to sleep. I was listening to Pod Save the People, which is the Black one on Crooked Media, for those of you that don't know what that is. But anyway, they were talking about there's a lawsuit against Black Lives Matter, the actual organization Black Lives Matter, not like the movement Black Lives Matter, about the grifting. And we've seen this, we've seen this sort of grifting narrative be put on, whether it's true or not, on various Black organizations as well as Black people, like Sean King, who I do believe has grifted quite a bit. But he's definitely a grifter.
Way better than I do.
Right. So when you're faced with those kind of narratives being the thing that people are going to think of you, or I also think that MLMs really prey on that particular narrative that you just read, which is like, what are people going to think about me when I'm selling things, when I'm going to, what are my family and friends going to think about me? And most of I'm a person that just kind of unfollows you. I'll be quite frank, for MLMers, but it's just because I see how that money is supporting the CEOs of those companies that are not doing great things and taking advantage of everyone in the company.
But the threat of your unfollow is also what keeps people from,
right.
But that can't be a thing either.
Right.
So what, the Terra unfollows you? There are probably 100 people who want to.
And that's what I'm dealing with the AI conversation, finally kind of coming outside of this podcast and having that discussion in my stories and commenting a couple places about it and being a little more open about my views about it, because I was scared, and am still to an extent, that there are certain people in my audience that would absolutely have arguments with me about it, or they would unfollow me, or they would try to, slander my name. And I have already been slandered and survived. But these are the things that we deal with going online. It's the same way I feel about, making sure it's why I have such an aversion to selling certain things, because I feel like, oh, like people are really going to hate this, or it's, or like the hacks in the vocal community, right? That's something that I don't do because I'm like, people like, it just gets into this complicated place. So I resonate with the last point is what I'm trying to say.
We got to get over the fear of being judged by our family, friends, and strangers.
Agreed.
Like the one thing we can count on is their judgment.
Mm-hmm.
One thing on we work online. We work from home, and that's why we're here, y'all, in the middle of the day. We work from home, and we work primarily online. The one thing you can count on happening online is being judged.
Like Mariah. You saw it happen in this podcast.
I don't even know the size of her shoes.
Right.
And she had a lot to say about what I was talking about. First of all, she came in to ask what I was talking about, didn't even know what the fuck was going on, and then had a contrary opinion once she found out.
And then kept going, but I didn't read any of those comments.
Because I stopped you. Once again, if someone called you on the phone and said you're ugly, and you don't know them, do you care?
Maybe.
I don't. We're working through that too.
Yeah, we are.
But it's the distrust in systems and platforms, and that people avoid these digital giving systems and the misuse of funds online and the fear of backlash from people who assume that fundraisers are scams, to overcome this thing that I'm seeing on my screen that I never thought about until today. And maybe we'll talk about it tonight in peer support and over the weekend in our programs. They're mentioning a thing called transparency anxiety. What if people think I'm lying? Transparency anxiety is real. And I completely identify with this personally. Because as a person who's been accused online of being a trauma dumper or crying for the cameras to get attention, which echoes my father in the 3rd grade saying you're just doing what you're doing for attention because he didn't know how to ask for his needs properly and healthily. This is a thing. What if people think I'm lying? What if people think I just want attention? What if people think that I'm trying to take advantage of them by being in my truth and owning what my needs are and what my desires are? Like, I need to have my teeth cleaned and looked into. I need new glasses. But what if people think I'm lying about needing the glasses and thinks that I'm going to take it to go to the bar or go on vacation in Cancun? But being transparent is how you get your needs met. Okay, 2 more. Emotional fatigue and pride. Asking for help after repeated struggle can feel exhausting. Pride often becomes armor against despair. I've already been through enough. I shouldn't have to beg. Okay? The irony is that this self-protection blocks collective care and shared healing. Last one, an unclear reciprocity model, which is you pointing back to the mutual aid. People hesitate because they haven't yet defined what donors receive in return, be it gratitude, community belonging, updates, or artistic access. Without a clear exchange, they feel the fundraiser without a clear exchange, weird emphasis on the syllables. Without a clear exchange, they feel the fundraising act lacks integrity. Without a clear exchange, they feel the fundraising act lacks integrity, which takes you back and takes me back to what I was talking about on TikTok this morning. It's like, I'm coming to the conclusion that for the fundraising that I'm doing, to keep from being up at night wondering if I am lacking transparency and if I'm standing my integrity because I'm a good Boy Scout and a recovering good old Christian boy, I'm going to have to create multiple tiers of my fundraising. Click this link if you want nothing back from me and you never want to hear from me again and you want to anonymously be a donor and just give me money and walk away. Click this link if you want it in exchange for my services and what I offer within my business. And then click this link if you want something to wear or something to drink out of or something on your keychain that says, I fuck with Flo and I believe in what he's doing. I'm going to have to do that because over the last 10 years of fundraising and trying to grow Dr. Flo and the Love Experience and Love City Arts and Love in Action Network, I've always struggled with this weird tension of people sending cash apps and then not knowing, okay, was the heart emoji that I sent them back enough? Or did they want a card? Or did they want to be in the social media? Do they want their name scrolling across the bottom bar of the screen? Like what is the most appropriate gesture for someone who's being kind to you and helping you grow your dream? And the real answer is that everybody who gives to you has a different level of expectation about what that gift means and how the receiving of that gift lands in the person that they're giving to. Instead of me driving myself further neurotic in the accomplishment of my dreams, I need to be very, very clear on how people can give and level set the expectation around that fundraising. I'm conquering the pride issue, and a lot of it came out in what we just talked about. And I'm working through this in real time, and I wanted to be really, really transparent. In the midst of my own personal transparency anxiety, I wanted to come out on the podcast on like 8 platforms and on several replays of this and just say that, like, yo, I have been afraid of looking weak and looking unaccomplished and looking like a failure when I know I need more money to keep this going and to keep myself fed. And we teach in our network that coming out is not just a day on the calendar, and coming out is not just Pride Month. Once again, coming out is not just a day, coming out day once a year celebrated, and it's not just Pride Month. I'm here on the stream coming out as a person who needs more food, transportation, and money to teach people who don't have it, or to fuel my access to get to the people who want the services I provide. And only pride issues, transparency, anxiety, and all the things we just listed is going to keep me from asking for that. And I would rather confront this on a live than be afraid of Mariah. And that's the reason for this segment. Any closing thoughts from you as it relates to fundraising and pride issues? Because I know that like this ebbs and flows for you, because some days you're like, let's get the $20,000 and just shut the fuck up about it. And then other days you're like,
other days I'm like, I don't really know how to do this, and I don't really have the energy to do this, and can somebody please help me, because I don't want to be the one to do it, and I don't want to do it. I don't want it to be.
So where is this landing on you today with all of our feelings about the made up money?
I really did. A couple of those like really hit home. Like, also like the transparency anxiety is a really interesting one to me, because like I did used to talk about how if we were all just more transparent with each other, like I do think that we would have a very different society. Like I think part of the problem with society is that we're taught that we should hide everything instead of just like having it laid out. And it's one of the things that like I've always appreciated about Dr. Flo is that he doesn't really like put on a face for anybody. Right. And maybe there's like a little mask that comes out sometimes for y'all that are in the public, but like certainly behind the scenes, certainly privately, certainly in co-working calls and all that, like he is just Flo. Like he's Flo. There is no like, if he is tired, he is tired. If he is sad, he is sad. If he is pissed, he's pissed. Like there isn't like, there isn't any blocking of that. There isn't any like, I'm fine when he's not actually fine. He's like, nah, I'm a pile of shit today. You know, and so it's
I did work on that.
Yeah, like, and so that's something that I have like admired, and like I said, I used to talk about it a lot in terms of just like being transparent with each other, not in terms of our needs, but just like at writ large. Like we cannot fix or reform or demolish things unless we're transparent about the reasons that we don't like them, or the reasons that they need to change. And we can't get there unless we are transparent within ourselves, and then within our small community, and then within the large community. And so I used to talk about that a lot. So that one like resonates with me, and it really kind of hit me, because it's kind of the similar discussion of what I've been having with both masterminds that I'm in Dr. Flo's and then Fiona Flight's. And I've been talking for a long time about like how I have put on this mask on social media, that I do present in a certain way. And like, even Dr. Flo asked me a question on Monday and was like, well, why, like, he didn't phrase it this way, but he was like, why couldn't you just do some of those, you know, like reposting viral videos? And I was like, well, no, I can't do that because like, I've done such a good job of like aligning everything. Like my most popular videos are exactly what I want them to be. Right. And I don't like, but the transparency of that is that I lost a lot of like my knee-jerk authenticity in the process of doing that, right? Like it is all filtered, and there's a very much like presentational Tara that y'all get on the feed. It's not so present in my stories, it's not so present on lives, but it definitely is present on my feed. And I've been working with how do I like remove that or add to it so that I can actually do the fundraising that I need. Because the other day, Fiona said to me, like, you know, the big mission for Tara is that she wants to raise so many millions that she doesn't feel it when she gives it away, right? And that she can give it all back and she can redistribute the wealth. And that is true. Like, I do want to redistribute wealth. I think that, you know, if there's the primary belief that money is real, which many people have, then the wealth needs to be redistributed. We could live in a more balanced society instead of this hierarchical society that we currently live in. And so, yeah, that transparency anxiety really resonated with me because I'm not sure that I realized, like, and maybe I did, but there is a lot of fear in like bringing back that Tara, you know, like that, like really raw, this is new, this is exciting, this is scary Tara. And so, yeah, so that one really resonated, and I am excited to continue to dig into those topics and hope that we will be able to kind of like overcome that together, because we both have to raise money for different things. We have a want to, and we have businesses to run, and that means we have to ask for money and ask for what we need, and
they're gonna give it to somebody.
Right.
The grants are gonna go somewhere, and the money's gonna be spent on pizza or shoes or whatever they want to. So why not me? Why not the things that are important to me? And having pride about not wanting to be seen as a human who needs things, and that's also 100% of us, is foolish.
Right.
And all built around stinking thinking.
Right.
And undeservability, which is what I feel I came to heal in this particular lifetime. I don't know what I was healing in previous iterations of my life, but in this one, unworthiness, a lack of deservability, and freedom. And for those of us who are the descendants of enslaved people, this freedom to have and freedom to hold and freedom to acquire and freedom to expand and freedom to be in abundance is a big deal. A very big deal. I got to pee, so let's move on through this. Ceasefire now. Take it away.
Okay, so ceasefire now, I just brought these two as kind of what's going on in the world. I can't comprehend how the UAE killed more than 2,000 Sudanese in less than 48 hours, and yet the world remains largely silent. And then let's say Israel is telling the truth and Hamas shot at and killed an IDF soldier yesterday. In what world is killing 104 Palestinians, mostly civilians, including 46 children, with a barrage of airstrikes, a legitimate military response? That didn't make a lot of sense. Let me read that one more time. In what world is killing 104 Palestinians, mostly civilians, including 46 children, with a barrage of airstrikes, a legitimate military response? It's not, because Israel isn't participating in a war, but committing a genocide. And so this is just a reminder that Sudan is still happening, Congo is still happening, Palestine is still happening. There are still multiple genocides in the world, and we can keep raising voice for them.
programs to highlight today. One is Adopt a Black Artist program. If you're out there and you are a person who is assigned a color of a crayon at birth and you feel overlooked and passed up in the ability to get support and opportunities to grow your business and to grow your dream, we would love to hear from you. We both have a few slots on selected days of the week to pour into people who feel like outcast. And so if it's you and you've conquered the transparency anxiety and you have moved through or come to a place of vulnerability where you can say, yo, I am a human who has needs and I'm not afraid to say it. And I don't think that free shit or donation-based services is something that should make me feel bad about my existence on the planet. If you're out there and you're not afraid of being helped and being uplifted, this program is for you. And it's a big deal because there's so many people who want to sell you things, and we got a lot of stuff to sell you and we'll continue to sell you these things. But this program is specifically about people who want to feel supported when they've not been. I was a young actor in Brooklyn many years ago who was so sad because I could not afford the classes and the workshops and the services that my assigned white at birth counterparts could. And so this project is for those who would rather be helped than be in depression and despair. Same thing for daily peer support. We are online at 11 a.m. Eastern every day and 7 p.m. Eastern every day to offer support and to listen to those who want to be heard in their roses, thorns, needs, and seeds. If you're interested in coming into a community of upliftment and empowerment, you can go to our website, lovedandlovable.bio.link, 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 and love on yourself in a communal space. But please keep your clothes on, because every time I say love on yourself, I'm like, oh, that's something different. We don't do that here. That is a different OnlyFans. Admin and support services are coming out of Love City Arts Creative Services Group. Right now, we're working on newsletters for people, flyers, business cards, a lot of really fun things. If you're a person out there who needs personal project management services or needs someone to help you with the technical elements of your life and how to lift things that you just don't want to do or you don't feel like learning, we are available for that, and we'll continue to advertise unapologetically on our platforms. And we're also hiring for Dr. Flo and the Love Experience, which will come into the earth eventually. If you're looking to be part of something that's bigger than yourself, we're looking for talents like artists and other creatives who believe in the power of love and how music, theater, and art can unite and liberate us all. And here is an AI picture of me in the future. I love AI and using AI as a tool to vision the joyous, bright, and secure future that we long to have. And I tried sometime asking the AI what it sees about the future of someone like you. You're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to do the asking. But this is something that I look at frequently because I can't wait to become that guy when I grow up. What you got, Tara?
So I've got TPS Community Commons. It's a WhatsApp community. We've got Blackening the Canon and Liberation Conversations, as well as a vocal chat over in that neck of the woods. And then tomorrow for Freedom Friday is the Empowered Hello Masterclass replay. It'll be up on the Substack that you are listening to this on, as well as my own personal Substack and my YouTube. And you are free to attend or book a 15 or 30-minute session with me.
Great job, Praolo. How did you feel about today's pod? We were together for an hour and 39 minutes a day, which is a long one for us.
This has been a very long one.
Yeah, how do you feel about the unfolding of the magic?
I feel good. I would just like to remind people that, like, listen, we talked about it in the pod, but we can't control other people. Other people are going to have their opinions, and just let it live, y'all. So yeah, and try to do good. Try to do good. That's all I got.
I learned today that when people come in here talking that bullshit about how people are not worthy of happiness, healthiness, and freedom, you can block them to their face and pay attention to the lovers in the room who want to liberate the world. And if you're out there and you're wanting to liberate yourself first and then the world after, go to lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. We'd love to connect with you and elevate your magic in the world one heart at a time. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for paying attention to Love Daily. On behalf of our producing partner, Poppy Water 33, Tara Partolo Studio, who you see on the screen or that you've heard from today, and myself, Ask Dr. Flo, on all platforms, we invite you, as always, to stay in your power, stay in your joy, and stay loved and lovable. We'll see you soon.